to start to work my red kind of around and through the rest of the apple, because I'm going to start to build up this side of the apple, and then I'll kind of like jump back and forth between as I make adjustments to what this image looks like. Now that I've gotten some red laid down, I'm going to come back and once again I'm going to switch between some pencils. I'm going to work with some red orange to kind of fill in the area here in between, and then we'll start to work on this side just a little bit. Coming back to just bring a little bit more yellow back to this area right here. It's not uncommon that you may have multiple colored pencils in your hand at the same time. Many artists feel very comfortable with holding a few different pencils in their hands at the same time, meaning they might have some colored pencils ready in the other hand while they're working, that they can just really quickly switch out. It does make for much easier transition between colors. And also, don't be afraid to overlap colors to get a more intense version of your color. For example, this darkened red area, I'm going to be overlapping many colors in order to get that deep red. The red colored pencil will not get me to this color here. I have to use other colored pencils in combination to get this color. Coming in with my orange to brighten up this area in through here. I'm going to grab my brown colored pencil, and I'm just going to be super sparse with it right now. But I could always come back later and build it up more with other layers of red. But I'm going to focus it just in this area right here to deepen that red color that we're seeing. Coming back with red over top of the brown. I'm going to take some red orange and go over the same area. Now I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball. We're going to take some blue. We're going to take some blue and we're going to go over this area super lightly. Now remember, blue and red mixed together are going to create a purple tone. And there are purple tones in here, this red-violet sort of appearance. So I'm going to be careful with my blue. I'm going to use it sparingly, but it will be important in order to achieving this shade. This is why the color wheel and color mixing and the rules of color theory are incredibly important no matter what medium you're using, because we can create much more realistic versions of color if we know how to embrace and use color. So now that I've worked on that area just a little bit, it's time again for me to kind of skip around and bring everything up to the same pace. I've got to definitely got to enhance this area and work on this area more to get it layered up as much as I have these areas layered up. And so this is personally the way that I like to work with colored pencil. I like to build up an area and then move to another area and build it up and then jump back and forth. This is just my personal way of working with colored pencils. Some people like to build up an entire area across the whole thing and then come back and build it up more and more and more, but working across the entire area. Again, I personally like to build up an area and then jump over here, build up an area, jump over here, build up an area. So that's just my preference. So again, I'm going to come back with some brown and I'm going to work, there's a shadow right here. And I'm going to work on building up that shadow that I see right here. And I'm going to come in with some brown, just like I did over here. And I'm going to be very gentle with how much I build up at once. Little bits at a time. You can always do more. You can't take away. Gonna come back with some red on top of the same area. And again, this is my other hand filled with colored pencils. That way it's much easier for me to trade out colors quickly. Coming back with red orange in the same area, just focused on building up and creating this color that I see here. Coming back with orange in this area. Working back up through this area to kind of bring everything together. All right, gonna come in with some brown in here. I'm going to come back with some green and I'm going to work some green in to this area. Not as much as I did down here, but enough to start to make this deeper reddish orange color that we have down here feel a little bit more muted. When we add the complementary color to it, we mute the color out just a little bit, and it's not as bold in the hue. It's toned down. But I'm going to be very, very light-handed as I do this, because I don't want to do too much. It's almost imperceptible, but I've kind of muted that color just enough to make it not so bright orange.